So you said this idea came from a trip with your family to Galapagos. Did you actually meet Whitmer, or had this idea been brewing in your mind for years and years?
Okay, in this family trip, we were in a museum, one of the larger towns, Museum of the Galapagos, and they had a room dedicated to this. They had a lot of the photographs that you saw, in credits, because Hancock. I mean, you got to go online. Alan Hancock not only shot some of the stuff there that we showed, we just didn't have time to put this in the movie. He actually shot this really campy, goofy, silent movie with the Baroness was the star of it. And she plays this piratess, and I mean, really, you go online and find this stuff. But I will say, my daughter Bryce turned to me and said, "This is a movie, Dad." And I started thinking about it. I got Margaret Vickers' book. I later got Dora's book. I started looking online for articles because it was a pretty big scandalous story at the time. It was very juicy, and I literally started tapping out an outline still while we were on that vacation, and then onward on my BlackBerry. So that tells you how long ago. So it was about 15 years ago, but I just was curious about it. I just kept collecting. I just wondered if someday, and I would tell people about it. Like I did tell Daniel. I didn't have a script when I talked to Daniel. I just had an idea. Even I tried to write some scenes and things, but eventually when I was working with Noah Pink, and I told him the story, as I said in the introduction, he said, "Could I take a shot writing it on spec?" And I knew his sensibility was great because from genius, I mean, he's funny, he has a good sense of humor, great sense of irony, and yet committed to the truth. And you would be surprised how truthful so many of the elements are in the narrative, and the motivations of, and the personalities of these characters. And so I hope that answered your question. It was really only once Noah wrote it a few years ago that it became something really to contemplate. I did a read through with some friends, and nobody who was ever going to be a candidate for the movie, but just actors who I respected, and I got a big boost of support coming out of that. Not only did it read well, but they were all just saying, "What are you waiting for? Get going on this." And so I was really glad to come across Rogue at CAA and AGC guys and be able to make the movie in what I felt was the most honest and appropriate way I could.
It's an older story, but it feels absolutely socially and politically resonant.
Well, let me just say, other people have been trying to crack this story over time. Daniel had met a director maybe 20 years ago who was working on the story. There was a TV version going around for a while. Hans Zimmer, who did the music and I thought did a great job and loved the story, he told me that as a young man, late in his life, Nick Rowe was thinking about this story and talking about it and contemplating it because the elements are so classic. I mean, here are a series of events that happened, and yet it's kind of like the late 19th century, fiction, Conrad or Dostoevsky or Melville or something. It's those kinds of dilemmas that are sort of murky and interesting and test people to their core.
It's a wonderful addition to your body of work, and thank you for sharing it with Toronto audiences.
Yeah.